Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. So, I'm about to do a 3-part video, and I know it because it's not the first time I'm trying to do it. A big ramble about what I do for role-playing games for kids at the library, and there will be some focus on what I did this summer. So, the first part, the one you are watching, will be about what I do with kids from age 5 through 8 years old in the library. So that will be the focus. And the two other videos will be about, both of them will be about the older kids. The second video will be about my journey towards finding the right game to run in the library, and the third part will be specifically what I did this summer with them. But for the younger kids, it will be rather long video, but that long because it's more easy to follow what I did. Okay, to put you in context, if you don't know, I work in a library, and one of my duty is to take charge. I'm in charge of the activities and entertainment offered by the library. Okay, so being a big fan of role-playing games, I was able to put some role-playing games in the schedule, and it's now part of the regular schedule of the library. You know, every year's, for the younger kids, maybe there's about from 8 to 10 sessions offered, and it's offered during days off of the school or during the summer. Okay. So, great occasion to introduce to role-playing games, and the library, it's a great place to do that. So, since the start, I'm using the same game. For 5 through 8 years old, the game has stood, is holding the road, and the game is Hero Kids. I probably, if you know me, you have already guessed anyway. I was already using Hero Kids before introducing it in the library with my own kids, and it was already a hit. We were playing it quite often, and we got through all the modules, the official modules that are sold for Hero Kids. Hero Kids is perfect. It's key in hand. Every modules come with everything you need: the maps, the miniatures, and a very simple scenario. And it has to be simple since we're dealing with younger kids. So I began to put Hero Kids in the schedule, and it was quite a hit when it began to do that. The first period, I think it was the summer, that I tried to put Hero Kids, I was doing longer sessions. What I mean by longer sessions, it was 1 hour and a half session every time. Though it was fun, especially for maybe the older kids that were attending, the 7 and 8-year-old kids, for the younger kids it was too long. Okay, that's where I realized that I had to adjust myself, because with my own kids we never got that long, but I was trying it in the library, and 1 hour and a half it was too long. So from after that, from that point, I've changed that to 1 hour sessions. I will explain a little later how I handle 1 hour sessions, but 1 hour is more than enough, and even some kids, after 30 minutes, they have enough of that. If I could do it, I would do 30-minute session, but it's hard to have an interesting story, even though, even a short one, it has to go through 1 hour at least, from my experience. Okay, it's a French library. Okay, I play in French, so I've bought the hero cards from the game, for the official hero cards, and I've made a translation of them. I've translated them, and I've put them in plastic, protect some sort of protection. The kids don't have to write anything on the sheet usually, so they will put some gums, the gum we use for posters. Okay, they put that on the sheet whenever they have they are wounded. There are squares that you can put your wound in them or stuff like that. and it works quite well. So I have the translation in French. I even offered them to the author of the game. I've sent them all to him through emails. Maybe someday we'll publish them. I'm not looking forward to get any share of that. I did it for my own use as a tool for my work. So I have all set up. Okay. Well, for the first 2 years and a half, it was Fantasy Hero Kids. And with kids, what's fun with them is that you can come back with an adventure you've already done before, and they will have as much fun, okay? They won't say, oh, we already did it and we know what's going to happen in the end. They're living the moment when they are in the scene, and they're enjoying it every time. Well, of course, Hero Kids, I can go into a campaign with the kids because this is a public service. I do that during the day, during days off, and there's no guarantee that a kid coming at one session will be there next session. So some of them will come more than once, but some of them I will see them only one time and never see them again. So I don't go into campaigns. But anyway, with that group of age, they don't see long-term, they don't have projects for their characters. If they choose a character, it's to live the moment now. And even some of them likes to change character from game to game. So, yeah, that's how it is. So, yeah, you have to expect that if you play often with the kids, since there's lots of choice, they want to try the different characters. So, Fantasy Hero Kids was used. Some of the modules came more than once, and yeah, once in a while, some kids were doing 2 or 3 times the same module, and every time the pleasure was there. Okay. Every summer in the library, we are attending the TD Summer Reading Club, which is something that is, by the way, held throughout all the libraries in Canada. All the libraries in Canada do have their own TD Summer Reading Club. The reading club is providing every libraries with posters and promotional tools to encourage reading, and every libraries make their own programs to offer to their users. So since their role-playing game is there, I always try to tie the games I'm running with the theme or the subject of the year for the reading club. And subjects could be like nature or stuff like that, science, nature, inventions, okay? And these are some of the themes that were explored in the past years. But this year the theme is Canada. So Canada, yeah, because we are celebrating the 150th anniversary of the foundation of the country. And Canada doesn't fit well with fantasy. Fantasy role-playing game, it has nothing to do with Canada. Okay, Canada, in its history, never encountered the stuff that have made fantasy what it is. It's more like medieval Europe, inspired by. So I decided to change the theme. In fact, it was more with the older groups, the 9 through 12 years old group, that I decided to do that. I wanted to go towards superhero. Superheroes is easy to fit into. It's a theme that Canada can fit easily into. You could have Canadian scenery while fighting crimes. Okay, that's easy. Contemporary, you visit Canada through your heroes. But okay, superheroes was cool, so I decided that Hero Kids would be on a superheroic theme. Though I didn't want to go into the Canada part, 5 through 8 years old, 5 through 8 years old, I don't think they mind that much if it's Canadian or not. They want to kick the ass of the villains. If it's in Vancouver or Toronto, won't make a difference. They are in the city. Okay, so I didn't push the Canada part, and I have 1 hour for each session. So I'm not there to educate them, but to entertain them. So when I decided to work on the Hero Kids version and make that superhero, I began to make some work, some search. I was planning how to do it, and I knew how to do it. Hero Kids is very flexible. But while I was doing my search, I found something on the internet, and it was someone who has published Super Kids, which is a Hero Kids compatible supplement. And it was the perfect timing. It was an all new product last spring, and it was, it couldn't be more perfect. It came with hero cards for the kids, but super heroic hero cards, some cool superheroes created for that. All I had to do was to translate them and make the same as with fantasy, making coated plastic on them, and with the translation on it, and bam, there we are playing superheroes. And there was also some villains for Super Kids created. So all I had to do was to translate, as I said, and create 5 short adventures. And it was, I was very happy. The job was more easy because of that. So I was very efficient with that one. So the adventures I've created, I tried to find subjects that could hook the kids. Okay, creating adventure means in Hero Kids finding maps and the miniatures. Okay, and having a short story around that. And usually when I write a plot for an adventure, it's a small paragraph, for some lines, some lines with numbers, numbered lines with stuff that will happen by the villain, and we'll see what the heroes will do. So the subjects were, the first adventure, it was, giant robots invading the city, so they had to figure out how to kick ass of the robot. They had a weak point, and they got to a factory that had the secret plans of the robots, and they had to make it fast because the robots were making damage and all this stuff. So it was very fun. The second adventure was Panic at the Zoo. A villain freed all the animals in the zoo, and it was the panic. The characters had to catch the dangerous animals and defeat the villains. The third adventure was a cotton candy factory that exploded because there's a scientist who wanted to make the perfect cotton candy recipe, but it ended out to be something like the Blob. Okay, it was invading the streets, and at some point the gas station exploded and people were trapped in it, and they had to do super heroic deeds against the unstoppable cotton candy, and they had to defeat the machine that was producing the cotton candy, because it had now an intelligence and it was evil. It was very funny. The fourth adventure was the amusement park derailed by a villain. Okay, all sort of stuff that the kids were hooked on. So I've made an experiment. Okay, it's rambling. Okay, I go here and there, but I want to talk about it before forgetting about it. The same guy who has wrote Super Kids also created some things for Hero Kids, which is some sort of a level advancement rules. Okay, on some pages, and it was very interesting because in Hero Kids there's no level advancement. The only type of advancement you can have in basic Hero Kids is to gain more special objects. Okay, that's the only thing. So I thought that it could be interesting, so I tried it on the kids that were coming more than once. And okay, I think the system is quite good, but for the library context, I didn't feel that it had a huge impact. I don't feel that the kids were caring that much if their character had something new in the next adventure. Like I said, they don't have long-term projects for their heroes. They just want to be there and roll the dice. So I tried it, but I won't try it anyway. I won't bring it anymore at the library. Though I will use it at home. With my own kids. If time permits it, I'm looking forward to have some sort of a big campaign with my own kids. So yeah, level advancement could be a good thing for that. But otherwise, it's a good system, but not on the library. It's not useful enough in the library, and it brings a little bit of bookkeeping that is not required. I don't need that to make it fun. Okay, so this summer it was a blast. Though I didn't have as much kids as the other years. I have some kids because the other years, sometimes all my hero kids schedule were sold out. I had kids at every sessions and all that. This year I had some places left, but nevertheless, maybe it was superheroes that didn't hook the kids. Though it's a very strong team for the kids, I suspect. But I made some changes on how the schedule worked out. So maybe that is some reasons. But nevertheless, those who were there really loved that. So it's a big success. Then next step for fall will be, I will do some sort of a Star Wars event, especially for the older kids in the role-playing game. So for the kids, there's already existing a Hero Kids in Space, so I will use that and make it feel Star Wars for the 5 to 8 years old kid. So that's it. How do I run Hero Kids? Okay, from the acquired experience so far, to make it happen in 1 hour, some essential ingredients are needed. You have to be ready to cut into your adventure. Maybe one encounter or two can be cut out from the adventure, and it will help. Personally, you have to be more than a GM. You have to be an entertainer. Okay, you have to be very theatrical about it. You are with the kids, and when I work with kids that age, I have some sort of a costume, some sort of a pirate trench coat with a black hat, and I have a small guitar to play. Okay, so I come as some kind of a character, so it helps. It helps to heighten the interest. And you have to be very cheer up with the kids. You succeeded, and you have to be entertaining. You have to bring more than you would do as a normal GM. You have to be an entertainer, and you have to be ready to make propositions when it comes to make actions. Having some choices for the kids. Some of them won't need that. They have lots of idea and they will think outside of the box, and that will be very cool. But some of them, won't talk that much, and you have to put that into 1 hour. They hesitate. Sometimes they don't know what to do. Maybe they're shy or something like that. So you propose some choice. Oh, you can use this power to shoot there, or you can run that way, or make 2 or 3 choices for them and let them decide with what you propose. Or they can come up with their own stuff. But just pointing them how it goes. And usually the ones that come back, those who you have helped that way and comes back, slowly begins to do it themselves. So they are being introduced to role-playing games. Just to add something, to add to the experience for that group of age, I have made, I have prepared for every kid that comes a page, a full, letter-sized page of their character. I just made I just resized the illustrations to fit the page, and they can go back at home with that. And if they want it, I will print them the character sheet on paper. They can't keep the plastic coated card that I've made, but I will, if they want it, I will make their character sheet available. They will bring that home. So I think it helps on the experience. They bring back home some memories of what they did. So my goal here is it's not to plunge them into full role-playing experience. They are being introduced in that. They have to know how to express themselves in front of the other kids in a way they haven't before, with structure and rules. I see it as the bridge between story time, when I read a book to the kids and when I'm entertaining about it, and and full role-playing game experience. It's the bridge, okay? It's kind of a story time where they choose what they do in the story. Okay, so yeah, they will be directed a little by me if needed, but it's not an obligation, My goal is to teach them that. And I can do something satisfying in 1 hour. Remember with kids, well, from what I saw, you won't go into complex plots and personalities of the NPCs and what's going on in the world. There's a problem in that cavern, they have to deal with it, they have to get the treasure. Okay? It's often as simple as that. These have to be very straightforward goals, and they will follow it. And they will roll the dice if they see enemies. And it's very cliche. There's no, except for one adventure that we're not sure if the main antagonist is really an enemy or not. But all the other adventures, okay, they are enemies. They are easy to point out. It's them. We have to hit them. Okay. So very okay, Hero Kids. I don't see why I would go elsewhere. It fits right the type of game I need. I need 1 hour of entertainment. It's more than enough for the kids, and Hero Kids provides that. No question asked. So, Hero Kids for 5 to 8 years old at the library is perfect. This summer, I have changed the theme for superheroes, and I will go towards space after that. So the sky's the limit from that point. Any questions, comment, feel free to leave them. I'd like to exchange if you have made experience with kids. I'm always looking forward to your experience and, trying to get better in running for them. The next video will be about what I did with the 9 through 12 years old kid at the library, the journey towards finding the right game. It was a little harder, and I will tell you all about it. François Letarte, JDR D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.